Well, welcome out everybody to another week of Gundam Wingsday. Super happy to have you here and working on our Wing Zero. Got a little bit in pieces here and gonna, since I got some of the paint out as well, just finish this piece up from another build as well, real quick and fast. Gonna show some new things with it. Things that we're looking at to do tonight. So I've actually painted the Buster Rifle, but something happened underneath and we got some damage there. So we're going to repair that damage with some painting, some hand painting specifically, and we're also finally ready to assemble the shield. Oh, I'm so excited for that. It's been way too long that it's just been sitting here idle. And that's actually the first thing we're going to hop onto today. I'm going to take off my masking tape that I had to protect the golden pieces. And we are going to do a little bit more hand painting here because watching the show a little bit, watched the show a little bit last week, just to verify, this portion right here is actually like a grayish color. So we're going to give that the same treatment that we've had for the rest of it as well. That way it matches up with what it's supposed to look like in the show. I also, if you were watching previously, a lot of big concerns about what the devil does a Buster Rifle look like, because the Master Grade version looks different than this High Grade version. And then to top it off, I watched the show and it was even a little bit more different there too. So, not granted the show's got its inconsistency. It was all drawn back in the 90s. Oh wow. Can you guys believe that show is 4 more years and it is 30 years old? Man. So, but their stuff is held up pretty well. I think so. I think they look pretty good in general. So, so we're gonna jump in here and specifically get started with our shield here. Like I said, I got some dark steel, specifically that matches the rest of our dark steel that you see here. I'm just gonna put it right here in my paint tray. Couple drops. And I brought with me a slew of brushes. Let's see what we want to use. I'm thinking this flathead brush would be great for this. A lot of area. Most of it's actually going to be covered up anyway. And just coat it up and get it all ready. So this has already been primed and painted with its white layer, so this is literally just finishing it up. And this little piece does extend out. It's not like it's crazy how they show it in the show. Like, just because it extends out, they showed it just wreck into a building. It seemed like super pointless. But that's what they showed with it. So just a nice thin coat here, nothing too heavy, just to show the color, and it will dry better than... You don't have to worry about the streak marks, they will eventually just dry away. But I don't even think, yeah, barely can see any streak marks on the camera here, so... Hey! Gonna snap it into place here. I'm not gonna fully set that right now, just because our next piece. So this piece needs to go in here, but this edge right here is actually supposed to be red versus gold. As a matter of fact, I think these don't touch, so I'm gonna go ahead and place this down too. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do touch just a hair. Yeah, they are touching just a little bit on the back. There we go. Yeah, it looks like I got a drop of paint in there too. There we go. Chipped it off. Alright. Got this part. It's, once again, it does slide like such. You can see there's a little bit of scraping there, so we're going to keep it mostly closed anyway. I don't have very much reason to extend it out. So this continues on and goes there, so now that we're done with our gray there, or our dark steel per se, just gonna clean my brush up just a little bit here. Just got some thinner here. You don't want the paint to sit too long, as that will stick in the brush and not be good for it. It hardens it and makes the brush not nearly as smooth as we want it for painting. Granted, the best way to clean your brushes afterwards is with warm soapy water. I put the water literally on as hot as I can handle it and do it that way. So I'm going to go with a different straight edge brush, just a little bit smaller so I can be a little bit more fine and focused. I go my opposite side of my same paint palette here. And we're going to be very, very careful as to not get the inner part of the gold here. And it's going on really, really smooth, which is great. It's also a good idea if you are worried to mask it off a little bit here as well. But I'm not too worried. But I might get an additional brush though. I got this new Atlas brush. It's super awesome. It's wide, but it has a super nice tip on it. It literally is like drawing with a pencil. This is the only way I can describe it. It's a great brush. Nice, great tip without compromising too much at all. So yeah, I'm just using it to get that inner lining right there. It's actually almost like I'm panel lining it a little bit. Got my paint thin enough in this red to be able to do that. It looks not so clean right now, but that's because we haven't filled in the rest, but it's actually really clean up against this edge on the inside, which is my bigger concern. Except that one slipped. Thank you for the compliment, Evo Mikey. I'm ready to wrap this one up in all honesty. Because I got Mercurius and VH ready on deck for it as well. I would like to do both at the same time, but we'll see. High grades actually do take me a lot of work because I do like to have them accurate, which means that you're going to have to do some hand painting and stuff like that. Just because, like, for instance, this would have been just a sticker, and I can't live with that per se myself. Stickers are meant for decals for me, in all honesty. Alright, let's finish up the rest of the edge with the bigger brush. Should be a little bit faster too. Hopefully everybody here has chosen their Halloween costume as well. Halloween's coming up right around the corner. My wife has suckered me into a couple's costume this year. So we are going as the Phantom of the Opera and Christine Daae. Old school. Alright, a little bit underneath here too, just to help out. We shouldn't see much of this, but it's more of a precaution. Alright, we're going to let that sit just for a little bit before we actually place it onto the shield. But that in this, so there's a sticker piece that goes on the shield right there. We're going to put that on there as well. Clean our brush out a little bit so that way the paint doesn't stick in there. Might need a little bit more this time. It's actually a great brush for our next piece though as well. I'm actually going to go ahead and get started though, because we want to fill in these vents right here in the legs. The vents need to be filled in with that dark metal color for all the other vents and stuff that's been going on. So that being the case, we're going to drop them in there and clean those up too. But we need to do some fixing up here. So we got, and there's actually a couple different colors as well that we need to touch up. So the first thing I wanted to show is recipes. So hopefully, if you're ever making your own colors as well, you write down what recipe you used to make it. So for my rifle, I did a total of 10 drops of this. And this is my gray Z with 2 drops of this Phantom Gray. And I bring my good old-fashioned fancy tool. Yes, this right here, guys, is just a normal coffee stirrer. Just use this and it mixes up the colors real nicely. So there we go. And we also got some two-toning to do on the rifle itself, which is why I dropped a little bit more thinner over here, so I can actually really clean these brushes quite well. Works best with running water, but I want those brushes again for the areas that we're going to. Alrighty, so looking at this, this is the one we're going to repair first. So this portion right here is supposed to be a different color, so we're going to go with that different color right there first, and that goes across here in general. So let's go ahead and get that doctored up. I've just now seen that there's an extra scribe line I could have done there, but I didn't. So I'm going to, my other color, while that sets a little bit, is going to be this nice dark gray green. It's not a bad color. It actually, to me, reminds me of like many of just the normal colors of runners, but in this case it'll look a little bit different. Be a good darker contrast to our already existing gray as well. Let's check it out. And at this point though, it's really key to remember that it's probably not gonna soak everything up at first, and you're still gonna be able to see the color underneath it. We are gonna have to give it a couple coats. Which is very, very normal. And I even recommend taking your time. You can always add more coats. You don't want to rip too much paint off as well, so we're going to let it do its thing for the most part. But I just absolutely love this little brush. In case you're wondering, no affiliation other than just telling you about the good tools. These are Atlas brushes. I bought them at my local hobby shop. They are a hobby store specifically for model kits. So all their paints and all their supplies are meant for building in general. Their main thing is like military crafts, but they have been dabbing into the Gundams. So good for them. They've even started now carrying like Gundam specific paints from Vallejo, so I like to see their mecha line that they've been dropping in. Yeah, seeing that, I might actually want that darker now. Kinda. Actually, in your guys' view, you guys can see it better. Maybe my lighting's a little bit too harsh. If not, maybe I'll just give it a few more coats as well. Yeah, I definitely could have done a scribe line there. There's a scribe line on the other side. So my big thing is that I'm concerned about is my yellow gold right here. Is it seeping itself through? And it doesn't look like it. That's why I'm moving it at different angles right now. So this color is going to go into 3 different spots. So it's actually going to go into the barrel here, as well as this underneath piece too. So I'm actually going to get a little bit bigger of a brush, because I got a lot more space to cover now. And go to town on it. Yeah, it's a good looking two-tone there. Subtle, but yet two-tone nonetheless. I'm liking it well enough. Really the hardest part of painting this has been like right underneath this barrel. It would have been nice if they had it separate, like the barrel sticks into place there, versus it's just a half piece. But sometimes we gotta live with that. we're starting to see a little bit of two-tone here in general. Once again, it doesn't have much. Even in the show, it's just like these 3 areas that are just slightly different grade than the rest. Now, if you guys can see, my brush is kind of splitting there. There's a good reason why that's happening, and it's not a good one. There's crap on the inside of it, and I didn't clean up those bristles well enough. Which means I probably need to soak it in a little bit of alcohol for a little bit, wash it, and then condition it. Yes, this one is an actual hair brush. It's camel hair. And so as that's the case, you definitely need to condition them. Keep them nice and smooth. Yeah, that's really starting to split bad now. I'm gonna wash it out. That's alright, we got the smaller brother of this one, which will really move through our paint project here super easily as well. Oh, there is actually one more area that has this color. I forgot about it, and that is the actual handle. So, but yeah, there's our two-tone looking solid, and actually once again we've already pretty much fixed up what was damaged in the first place. And it is drying darker than it applies. That's a big thing too, if you remember, is that sometimes these paints look lighter than what they actually dry. So give it a shot. Painting something first is a good habit. In this case, I did not do that for this color. I thought I painted it somewhere else. Alright, that looks good. That looks solid. All these other pieces look good and solid too. I'm actually going to paint underneath the barrel right here just a little bit more. Get rid of any extra yellow or gold that came from me spraying it. And with these acrylics, these water-based acrylics, it's actually okay to maybe even just, weirdly enough, lick your finger real quick and wipe it away. Yeah, this side looks great, actually. Alright, last but not least, the handle. I even left some primer on there. For no particular reason, just I originally had my clamp there, if I'm not mistaken. For when I was painting the big color. Or the main colors. Excuse me, sorry about that. Now this Viejo Mecha paint is actually, once again, it's designed for already brushing right away, but if it's not going on smoothly from the start, definitely recommend giving it like 1 drop of thinner, or 1 drop of Flow Improver. Flow Improver does help it to dry slower, which can actually be quite handy when you're hand brushing. But only 1 drop though. Like, both are very, very strong in the Viejo lineup. A little bit different though if you're using Tamiya. I know I've been painting with both, but with Tamiya, you sometimes need to go a 1-to-1 ratio, or a 2-to-1 ratio. 2-to-1 being 2 drops of paint for 1 drop of thinner. Alright. So I'm going to put this one to the side a little bit, and we're going to grab another brush here. A little bit bigger, but it still allows for fine detail. It's actually a pretty good brush here. So I'm going to use this is my touch-up paint, and we're going to fix this portion. I seriously, like, especially this extra color, I have no idea what happened. It stuck to I have my box that I bring out with all my items that I need to paint, and it was stuck to it. And I was really perplexed myself. I was like, what the devil happened here? But sometimes that's just the nature of the beast that we're working with. Not always perfect. Now, I'm actually going to do something else too. I noticed a lot in the anime that right here was either sometimes painted or sometimes was not. The Master Grade version doesn't have it painted, so we're going to make it the same color. I wish I would not have masked this off, and I would have just painted it from the start. Because brushing it is gonna suck now. Multiple coats are gonna need to be applied to get it back. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go back to my straight edge brush for that. But there's ooh, maybe I should just combine them together because you can't see anything of the problems there. And it looks nice and clean. And I made that scribe line for it too. How fun. Now if you are hand brushing, it's always, for me, it's always great to have another Q-tip with actual some thinner on it, in case something goes over, just like over here. So that way you can clean it up. Or in this case, you may even have some paint on your hands that spreads over to the other side of other side of your part. Alrighty, we are almost done fixing that up. Looks like I got some on the other side. Definitely not where I wanted to get it. My gold here is definitely harder to hand brush. Yeah, and I think I messed that spot up actually specifically. Because yeah, we have to paint with yellow and then softly paint with gold on top of it. So it's not an easy fix. Now we are almost done here fixing this up though. From some of the chipping and stuff that did happen. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a little bit lighter right now, but once the paint dries, you'll be able to see that it darkens up and matches the rest of the unit. Alright, now for the real fun and hard part. So we gotta paint that yellow, those areas that got messed up, and then retouch them up with some gold there afterwards. Both colors are here with me. And then we may take a short break to actually go and clean some of these brushes, because we still have a fair number of things to finish up. We do have the other rifle as well. Not nearly as bad as what this one was. This one, once again, I don't know exactly what happened there, how I got that drop on there, so. Alright. Yeah, some of these brushes are going to need a little bit more TLC before we move on. So that way we don't get paint stuck in them and everything, and we can actually switch to our other colors as well. Well, give me just a moment here. Sorry about that, I dropped something on the floor, but I'm going to go ahead and clean up these brushes real fast, and I'll check back with you in just a moment. Thanks for your patiently waiting as well as we finish up repairing and doing some touch-ups for this rifle. So we got one side though. This is practically done now. We got to do a little bit of yellow here to really make it solid. Yellow and gold specifically. So I'm actually going to do a 1-to-1 ratio. Let's try it out. That's 3 drops. That's 3 drops. Yeah, it looks actually about even with that 1-to-1 ratios. Looks like it's going to be a good coat over what we need. Actually, if anything, we may need a little bit more gold. But we're going to try it out anyway. Freshly washed brushes. And if it all doesn't work out the way we want it to, we will just add a gold coat on top of this yellow. And look over here. Yeah, because we already added a gold coat over here. Excuse me, a yellow coat over here to fix this one up. Some tape pulled it off. So we're gonna give this, I actually probably need to give it a little bit more time there, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. There we go. It's good for now. Also probably because this brush is quite wet still. That paint is thinned out over it. So I try not to use too much of that paint like that. So, alright. Let's actually dabble into doing our big touch up. Or our two-tone pieces now. Right here. And all these Atlas brushes are just easily becoming my new favorites. Their fibers just hold so well together. Going over any part. They are quite fantastic. I did not find them at like a Hobby Library or Michael's or anything. This is at a specifically a hobby store. And for plastic model building. Or I guess they have trains too. Alrighty. Almost done with that specific section. Alright, I'm going to get my bigger brush for the remaining portion that I'm going to redo now. Paint's starting to dry up actually now, which is normal, but it can make for some real inconveniences. So when that happens, it's good to have some thinner close by as well. Helps stretch out that paint just a little bit more. It's really going to fix up that error that we had earlier. It's going to take a couple coats though, but gotta get fixed up. It's very simple, but yet awesome design for this Buster rifle. I've always been fond of it. I watched the episode specifically where it introduces itself and it destroys a colony. Catcher goes a little bit crazy and destroys the thing he's there to protect. So, how about that? Ooh, bad mark there. Ooh. I need actually a different brush to do underneath there specifically. So I'm going to put this one to the side just for a moment here. Especially because we need to do another coat right there specifically. And our paint is definitely getting a little bit dry there, so I'm going to give it another drop. Maybe two. Alright, let's give it that small second coat right here. Whoops. And of course I drop it on the floor, right? That's never been great for painting. Alright, we need to get underneath the barrel area. Just like that. It's definitely a more challenging part to paint right here. Try not to go over on the edges specifically is where it's the real struggle. And if you wanted to add some like literally just some fun effects, is just get a little bit like a black and then just fill in that area and then just give it some little streak lines there. Make it look like it's been fired a few times. That's how you can give that effect. I'm just going for a clean shot here. If anything, I'll give it some wash treatment, which will also do very similar things, but just a lot lighter. almost finished being cleaned up here as well. It's coming together real nicely. Yeah, real nicely here. We do need to fix some of this inner edge right there. We got a little bit of yellow that didn't get covered up fully by the gray. But everything else is practically done for this one. So let's go get that gray done. And then it's on to our dark steel. A little bit here in the rifle. We're gonna touch that right there. There we go. Ever so softly. Alright, yep, both sides are good. So there we go. Buster rifle practically finished up, and to think that was all damage right there before. It still needs some more paint. We need to actually give it a gold coat over that yellow. Actually, I dare say we might even need some more yellow. I can see through it a little bit too much, and I think your camera does too. So, hey, post in the chat if it's choppy or not. I really need to know because I don't see the upload. I'm really curious to hear what you guys are seeing on your end, especially because I did get word from my internet provider that there is an issue with my overall line to my house. So if indeed that's the case, then I want to go ahead and get it fixed ASAP because there's nothing like a choppy video service while you guys are trying to watch some Gundam. So I am definitely happy to accommodate the best I can. There's our shield, finally. Just let that dry over time. We got to put the green sticker in there, which I don't have right now. It's just, I don't know where I place it, but Evo Mikey, thank you so much for letting me know. It's just been, it's been real, like it even disconnected earlier as well during the video. I did see that where everything was offline. So, alright, finishing up here, gonna give a little bit of gold here. Oh, excuse me, a little bit of yellow first. A little bit of yellow. We got some yellow streaks that need filling in. Which is kind of funny. I'm spending so much time on this inner part, but it might not ever even be seen. I think I'm going to put the Buster rifle in together as one unit and put it in his hand. So I could just be wasting my time there, but I do want it to be pretty universal. That's not the word I'm looking for. Pretty unified in general in its appearance. So I'm going to grab this brush. Yeah, this is a good feathering brush. Drop my gold in here. I'm going to dab this on a little bit of liquid thinner, meaning, human thinner being saliva. And then just gently brush over this yellow that I have here with the gold. Kind of mimic the airbrush effect that I did. Let me take a couple coats. The gold is once again hand painting gold, unless it's enamel, is really interesting. The main reason why I say it's really interesting is because like it requires a lot of coats to be good. which at the same time feels like it gets too thick if you ask me. So yeah, actually that came out surprisingly uniformed. Oh, I didn't paint underneath there. Oh, I need to paint that. Because like we did that over here and solidified that up. I kind of like it, but at the same time though, it just, I don't know. I thought it looked weird after I did it. But yeah, that looks good. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. Yeah, it's all about this brush is a really, it's a feathery tip. It's obviously not made with feathers, but it's very feathery when it's placed down. So it really spreads a nice, good coat of the gold without being too see-through. But it does have see-through properties. I really don't even know how to explain it well because it feathers it. It's not hard, but yet it's also not soft. So best way I can describe that is feathering it. So it's a unique brush. Like these are a little bit firmer, and their bristles all come to this nice little point. This one, once again, it feathers out, so even has a little curve. These kind of have that little bit of the same thing as well, but this one's got crap in it though. Yep, right there at the end. I hate it when that happens, actually. Okay, let's call these rifles what they are. Done. So they look good, and I'm actually happy to show. Oh, they're not done. Excuse me. Yeah, look at that one piece right there. Yeah, it looks so much better that way. Yeah, it looks good. Looks real good this solidified together. But yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. It needs to go the way of Old Yeller. I put my brush aside for it that I was using earlier. My paint is definitely starting to harden up. And sadly, I got a lot of paint that I'm gonna waste there because I'm not using this color again. Or I would have made it in a vial. But the problem is that now we're gonna have leftovers. And how we're gonna get rid of that is just down the sink. Which is why I'm not happy about it. It's still like 14 drops of paint. That was a bad idea painting with it together. You can see I got some of my gold to seep through the lines, which is normal in all honesty when you do something like that. Do you want to have that precision with hand painting? Got a thick coat there. It's not bad, but it's not great. Thick coats have a hard time evening itself out. Yeah, I'm gonna put this brush aside. It's not doing what I want it to do. Let me use this other one. Give this a little bit of the human air treatment as well. If you remember, some of that we actually scribed as well, so gotta give that a moment. It's gotta dry. If not, I'm just gonna keep pulling off paint. In the meantime, I'm gonna get that nice feathery brush again. Gonna use my dark steel, which I'm actually sadly running out of. That's my mixing tray. That's why it's got the round ones. This one is just great for straight shots. So we're gonna take off these knees. We're not gonna take that off, but we're gonna just simply. So this is gonna be kind of interesting. We're gonna paint upwards and then just erase what goes out. Hopefully you find it kind of interesting how we do it. So we're definitely going to get some lines on the outside. But that's okay. Because it's a little bit of thinner. This has been cured over for some time, so it's really going to be easy to remove. And it will make nice crisp lines in the end. So it was, you can see I was very not careful at all. I'm going to put just literally just a drop of thinner on my cotton swab here. Circle it up. Now it's important that you do this right away though, so that you can clean it nice and quickly. And you can see it's now nice and clean, literally just that fast. It's kind of treating it like a reverse wash, in all honesty, but it works really, really good. So we're going to do all these little vents here. Vents, intakes, take your pick of the word. I don't actually know what to properly call them. I'm thinking they're intakes though. But yeah, just that easy. And they're nice and smooth. Gotta do these knees, they do the same thing. And now we go back and just clean it up once again. Such an easy technique, but makes such a difference. Just look at that. Look how clean it is. And just the work is so fast. When you do it that way. Oh wow, I already noticed it's almost time. So much was done tonight. So I'm excited though, because next time we meet up should be the final touches. We'll be doing that panel lining of the legs here. Also the panel lining of anything else that's left over. So the wings need some panel lining as well. Yep, definitely. The feet, the bus rifle, but panel lining is going to be fast in general. So it's one of our faster things to do to finish up our Gundams in general. But there's our buster rifle, pretty solid. We need to probably give, we need to give one more coat here before we technically call it good. Oh, that's still heavy. But yeah, then we're going to be working on Mercurius and V8. The first two mobile suits that really take a crack at Wing Zero. And they're piloted by none other than Hito Yui and Troll Barton. One of my more favorite fights of the series, especially because it's Gundam pilots versus Gundam pilots, and they're like, Hito was literally going after to kill Catra. gray on the other side too. That was like a Where is Waldo moment that I almost wish you guys would have told me. I can't rely on you for that, like, especially because like getting into it sometimes it's hard to look at the chat. So I apologize for that. I definitely want to make sure all your comments are heard and know that they are welcomed. In addition to that, love to hear your thoughts, opinions. That's what makes a good community. So bring them on. Dang it. Dang it, because just when I thought I was done, I had that mess up from being stupid. Alright. That's gonna call it good. That's gonna call it good. So it's uniform enough, that's for sure. But our knees look good. Yeah. Yeah. I did watch the second episode of Gundam Breaker Battle Log. Looks alright so far. Looks alright. The animation quality looks great. I just really wish that they had a real game like that for us. And I'm not talking about like the mobile app Gundam Breaker. I am looking for specifically, hey, let me kit bash my own Gundam that's me, or even just make a really good quality build, and then use that to battle. That would just be absolutely awesome. The closest thing that I can think of is, what is it? Yeah, Gundam Breaker 3 is pretty good. So I am right now assembling Wing Zero. Gonna collapse these wings up. There's that all together. Gonna put our feet back into place. And you can see he's coming along real nicely. I'm not going to put the guns into place yet though, for a couple different reasons. One, I want to let some of this, since there's a lot of hand painting does take longer to dry in general. So I'm not looking to scratch off any paint, so I'm going to let this sit. Yeah, Evo Mike, I hear you too. I wish those episodes were a little bit longer. But, you know, I mean, consider what it is. It's an internet show. More so than an actual, like, full-on Gundam series it looks like right now. Which I'm okay. I mean, sometimes that's all I have time for. But, yeah, so I'm going to let that dry up a bit before I actually put anything back together, and I might even top coat those guns before I put them in. The paint, sadly, is a little bit heavy. Not the ideal situation is to have heavy paint, but that is the fact of the matter for these guys. I'm getting a little bit more of my dark stuff though. I'm going to finish this piece for the Death Scythe. Oh, and I'm going to do something else too. I'm going to drop in my thinner and then grab it. And it should be a little bit more liquidy. So you can actually make your own washes from whatever colors you want. And you can see it's actually filling in the lines versus me having to brush in the lines. And so you can make your own thinner with a little bit of, actually I said thinner, but you can make your own wash with a little bit of thinner and whatever paint you want. And that's what we're doing here. However, though, in order to really get it off, is you have to use more thinner. But there we go. Now we got some coloring in the inside of there. Might be better actually with a different brush. Let's go with this one. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, look at those vents now. A little bit of work, a little bit of thinner and actual paint. Got us some good detail. Some good detail there to finish up. So thanks for joining. Thanks for your patience as well tonight, especially if there was any internet hiccups on my end. I apologize for that. Um, but yeah, I'll catch you next week with Gunpla and Chill, and I'll see you on if you're able to join on Sunday with. Excuse me, I said next week. Wow, Gundam Wingsday. But yeah, hoping to have you there for Gunpla and Chill. It's good times. We're really got some good stuff going on for that Unicorn gun. I'm excited to show you how those this stuff from the Paint Lab came out. So we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Don't work too hard. Eat your eat your Wheaties, do your schoolwork, and be strong. Take care and have a wonderful evening.